shifts at a 24-hour gas station last summer. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid enough, and it was quiet most nights. It was just me in that glass-walled little box, surrounded by fluorescent lights, old coffee machines, and the humming of the ice cream fridge. 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. was chill, but 11 to 7, that was when it got weird. Around 2:15 a.m., a man came in, thin, tall hoodie pulled over his face, holding something in his hand, not a weapon, something wrapped in newspaper. He didn't say a word, just walked straight to the fridge aisle, stared at the milk for a full 5 minutes, then walked to the counter, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're new." He said there'd be a new one. I laughed awkwardly. "What?" He dropped a 5 on the counter, didn't buy anything, and walked out. That shook me up a bit, but I brushed it off. The next few nights were quiet, until one night, I looked at the wall clock. It was 3:17 a.m. Next thing I remember, it was 5:42. I hadn't fallen asleep. I swear I didn't. Security footage confirmed it. I stood there the entire 2 hours, blinking, breathing, staring straight ahead, not moving. I don't remember any of it. That same man came back the next night, same hoodie, same newspaper wrap thing. This time he walked in, didn't look around, just said, "Do you remember now?" I froze. He reached into his coat. I panicked, thought he had a weapon, but he pulled out a Polaroid photo, held it up. It was a photo of me behind the counter, taken from outside the building. He dropped it on the counter, walked out again. I reported it. Cops checked the footage, saw the guy, said they'd investigate, but that night my boss told me someone else would cover me for a while. I went home, relieved. At 3:17 a.m. I woke up gasping for air. My bedroom window was wide open, and on my desk was the Polaroid, same photo. But now there was something new in it, someone else standing behind me in the reflection, and I live alone. I quit. I left town the next day. I don't care who he was or what I did between 3 and 5 a.m., but sometimes when I drive past old gas stations, I swear I see him, just waiting. I took the night shift job at a parking garage downtown. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Boring, mostly. Just sitting in a booth, sipping coffee, watching a dozen security camera feeds, occasionally doing rounds on foot, checking stairwells. Most guards quit after a week, not because of the pay, because of level B3. Level B3 was the lowest floor in the garage, no public access, employee parking only. Most of it was empty except a few monthly permit cars, but it always felt off. Colder than the other levels. And the cameras down there had static sometimes, just on B3. The others told me it was a wiring issue, but I started noticing something. Every night at 2:13 a.m. the same car alarm went off. It was always the same car. A black Toyota Corolla, dented on the side. I asked my supervisor if we should report the alarm. He sighed and said, "That car's been there for 2 years. Owner passed away. The family never claimed it." But that didn't explain why the alarm kept resetting every night, even after I unplugged the battery. On my 5th night, I was watching the cameras when I saw something that made my blood run cold. A man walking across level B3, not a hoodie, not homeless, clean clothes, briefcase, normal walk. But here's the thing, he didn't come from the elevator or stairs. He just walked in from the far end of the level, where there's only a concrete wall. He walked behind the black car and never came out the other side. I rewound the footage over and over. He never reappeared. The next night I brought a flashlight and decided to check behind the car myself. Nothing there, just old oil stains and a receipt from 2021. But as I turned to leave, I noticed something scratched into the concrete wall behind the vehicle. It looked like a date. April 19th, 06, he watches from the mirrors. I stared at it for a long time. That night, I covered the camera screen with my jacket while I sat in the booth. Last night on the job, I decided to do one last patrol. B3 was empty. The Corolla was gone. I froze. It hadn't moved in 2 years. I checked the camera. The feed was just black. As I turned to leave, I caught movement in the rearview mirror of another car. I wasn't near it, but in the mirror, I saw my own reflection and someone standing directly behind me. I spun around. No one there. I never went back after that. Quit the next day. Didn't give a reason. But last week, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside was a single photo. Me, sitting in the booth. Camera angle was from inside the black Corolla and scrawled on the back, "See you soon, Nightman." I used to stock shelves overnight at a supermarket just outside of town. Nothing fancy. No customers, just 3 of us on night crew. Me, Adam and Tara. We'd clock in at 10 p.m, grab energy drinks from the break room fridge and start unloading pallets till sunrise. But then corporate started cutting hours. By my 3rd month it was just me, alone, in a 40,000 square foot grocery store from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. One night I was restocking canned beans in aisle 9 when I heard the beep of a scanner, that loud, unmistakable beep checkout sound. I froze. I was the only one in the store. No one else had a badge, no one else was near a register. The registers were at the front and I was in the middle. I walked up slowly. All the monitors were dark, except register 4. It had one item listed on the screen, unknown, $0. That should have been enough for me to quit, but rent was due, so I came back the next night. Around 2:30 a.m. I was in the back freezer sorting inventory, and then footsteps. Fast, steady footsteps across the tile. I held my breath and peered through the plastic flaps. Nothing. But on the freezer door, someone had used their finger to write in the condensation, "Hello." That same night, something even weirder happened. I rolled in a pallet of boxed cereal. On top of the shrink-wrapped stack was a handwritten label, "For delivery, 7:20 seconds." But it was March, and the label looked aged. Yellow, torn, faded ink. I peeled it off. Underneath was a second label, same delivery date, same handwriting, different year, 2018. I started going through old security footage on my break. Just curiosity, you know? I rewound to 2:30 a.m. Same time I heard the footsteps. In the footage, I watched myself walk into the freezer, and then, 30 seconds later, a second figure appeared on screen, just barely out of frame, standing near the door. Couldn't see a face, just standing there, watching the freezer, for 6 full minutes. Never moved, never looked at the camera, and then vanished. On my last night, I found a trapdoor in the employee break room I'd never seen before. No label tucked behind the vending machine. It led to a small crawl space, probably maintenance access. But what was weird was that it had blankets, old food wrappers, a disposable camera, and a torn name badge with the store's old logo. I asked my boss the next day. He paused and said, "We haven't used that logo since, 2014? Why?" I didn't go back. I don't think I was supposed to find that space. And I don't think I was ever really alone on those shifts. But the worst part, last week I got a text. No number, no name, just a grainy photo. Me in the freezer, stocking shelves. And in the background, between boxes of frozen pizza, a face watching.